And so now hopefully you can all see that.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to talk about, oh, sorry, I've got my screens here and my laptop there, so I get a bit sort of at times. Kitchen's iPad 2, who is that?
It's me, James.
Oh, hello, how are you?
I'm all right.
We've got no video. If I'd seen the picture, I'd have known it was you, James, but anyway.
Yes, I'm just trying to get me up and running.
Just rename you, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about moving about on your page using text, essentially, making it easier for your visitors to move about on the page.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
If I can get this to work, come on. Thank you. So yeah, as I said, using the words on the page as our link to other areas on the page, or indeed other areas on other pages. And I'll show you what I mean as we go through. So we need to use unique IDs, if that makes sense, to identify where these anchors, and that's what it is, they're called anchors. So we're going to go from one area to where we've placed our anchor just by clicking on the words. Okay, so they need to be unique. Otherwise, if we called them all one, for instance, and we had 10 of them on the page, we would have no idea where we were going to go to. And neither would the software, obviously. It would just not work at all. So as I say, they need to be unique. In our WordPress dashboard, I've called it the page text editor. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but posts and pages are the same as far as editing is concerned. Yeah, so I've just left it as a page. We would actually enter these in here. So we have, well, let me get my mouse out of the way for the time being. Up on the top of the page, we have a little button that flicks between the visual and text.
Yeah.
So as you can see on that screen there, that is actually the visual editor. And if we click the button, we come through to the text editor, and you can see the words, so what is lorem ipsum at the top, are still there. They're here. But what we've got is the code that tells it what to be. Okay, so in this case, it's a heading 2 defined by H2.
Mine's different to that.
Is it? Are you on Gutenberg or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think it could be. It doesn't look like that.
All right. I'll if I get time at the end, I'll switch on Gutenberg because I don't use it, and we'll have a quick look and see if that rings any bells for you, Jackie. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I use that as well. Actually, I use.
If I open up a page, will it tell me?
It'll. Mine's gone blank. We'll get there and we'll have a look at it. Okay.
All right then. Okay. Thank you.
So I've put one in here. You can see I've included here. So without it in, it just says H2, as you can see there. But I've included it in. Oh, let me go back. Got carried away. In here. So after the H2, I've put in the ID, and I've said this is what it's going to be called. Okay. And just to keep it simple, I've called it Anchor 1.
Is it to do with the theme, do you think?
No, we'll have a look in a minute, Jackie. I'll show you with Gutenberg on and just a normal text editor in the back, and then you can say, oh yes, that one's what I've got.
Okay.
If it makes sense, okay.
Oh no, it's Thrive Architect.
That's the theme.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've probably got a page builder in there.
It says you are currently using the Thrive Architect landing page to display this piece of content. You can continue editing with Thrive Architect or revert to your theme template. And I usually go launch Thrive Architect, and then I'm there. Yeah.
So it will probably be a builder.
I'm sorry to hijack your session in that way, but I will be able to follow it. So thank you anyway.
Okay, well, there was no problem. We'll have a look maybe at yours at the end and sort it out from there.
All right then, thank you.
So yeah, I've decided that I'm going to use this piece of text here as my anchor point. So I have put in there what I've called it anchor 1 to keep it nice and simple. And if you're going to do this on lots of pages in a lot of ways, so you can have lots of anchors, it's probably a good idea to write them down just as a, for instance, what you've got.
Mm-hmm.
And then to put a table of contents in, still in the text editor, we would put something like this at the top of the page. Okay, so we've got what it says table of contents, and then there's our anchor 1. And I've just got a little slide here. This is the elements that we were looking at just there, okay, and what they mean. So you've got your divisional section. So as you can see, we've written the whole thing here into a section, and then it breaks it down into what they are. So we've created a paragraph. We've got an ordered list on it. We've got items in the list, and each item is actually a hyperlink, and that's how we've written it all out. So can you follow that? Okay. I mean, it'll be easier for you when you've got the PDF and you can flip between the pages. But so long as I've not lost you at this point, that's the important thing. Otherwise, I can soon go back over it if you're a bit sort of I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All good.
And we've lost James. But we can also use plugins to create tables of contents. Those of you who are familiar with WordPress will be glad to know, which means we don't need to write any of that stuff. This will produce them for us. Okay. I looked at 2 in particular. There was this one that works for Gutenberg Blocks. For any of you that are using Gutenberg, yeah, you can just put this into your pages. And if I switch Gutenberg off in a minute when we go to the live site, hopefully I'll be able to show you how this one works. And then there's one for, I just picked one at random, which is Easy Table of Contents. Okay, so that's another plugin if you're using the standard page editor. And I think it works with most builders as well, Jackie, just so that you're aware.
Okay, thank you.
So as I said, we can use this to go to other pages. Okay, so we've created anchors on our page, which as I said, sorry, I'm nearly fallen over here. Need to have a unique ID. But what we can do is we could produce page 1 and put 4 anchors on it and call them anchors 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we could make another page called page 2, and we could have anchors 1, 2, 3, and 4 on that as well. Okay, so we can move to those anchors on each page, or we can say, I want to go from page 1 to anchor 2 on page 2. Does that make sense? Okay, so the little bit of code I showed you before was to move on the 1 page. But we can now use it. So for example, I was going to show here, on our page, on our home page, we've got the words, our test page part 2. And you can see in the navigation, we've actually got a test page 2. Okay, so I could use those words to link to that page. Okay, so before we were creating the anchors like that, so that's to move on our 1 page, but now we would have to tell it that we want to go to a different page. So here it's called test page 2. Oh, sorry, getting carried away with my buttons there. So what we're saying is go to that anchor 1 on page 2.
Why would we want to do that?
Well, let's say, okay, we wrote a page about running shoes, just for the hell of it. And then we could mention in there a fact that Nike make running shoes. Okay. And we could also have a page about a particular Nike running shoe. So we could use, just bear with me a second. James is back. So I think James, did you have to leave to go and write your name?
I can't see him.
Are you back with us, James?
Sorry, yeah, I am now. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
that's
Okay,
great,
Jackie.
thanks.
Jackie, so yeah, so we've got two pages. One's about running shoes, and one is actually got a Nike. Is about a particular Nike running shoe. So we could write the words Nike running shoe on our one page, the one that's about running shoes in general, and then we could use those words to link to the specific page about the shoe we've just mentioned. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whereas we've got here, what is lorem ipsum, that could say Nike and whatever model of shoe it was, and that could then link off to the other page.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're telling your visitors that these words are a link, and you're telling Google that these words are a link, and that the two are related. Yeah.
And
And
do they
hopefully
open up in a separate window then?
that one won't, because of the way it's written, but you can set them to open in another window.
Okay.
Okay. Generally, if you're moving about on your own website, you don't need to.
I was thinking about visitors.
No. So long as your navigation is clear, it shouldn't be an issue. And there's nothing to stop you, don't forget, when you send them to the page about the specific Nike running shoe, also mentioning there are other running shoes on that page and then linking back again. Yeah. I mean, in this particular instance, we're sending them to a specific point on the page rather than just to a page. So, okay, we're back to talking about running shoes, and we may mention several Nike running shoes, and we may have a page with 3 of them on there, and so we could send them to the specific shoe that we mentioned. So you could have numerous links on your page, all going to various sections of your website. Does that make sense? So, but we're not, in this instance, because we're talking about a jump link, so we're sending people to a specific section rather than just to a page.
Oh, it's just like a section on the actual page.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you can actually move the page up and down just by using the. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. You may well have come across the websites that do it at the moment. So you have like a one-page website, and at the top on the navigation menu, it will say home, about, contact us, and all it will do is scroll down the page, whichever link that you click onto. Yeah, so that's a jump link.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about here.
Brilliant. Okay.
But as I was just explaining, and you possibly missed that, James, you could say link from a set of words to a section on another page. So it doesn't have to jump to the same page. It can jump to a section on another page.
Oh, that's pretty handy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So does that help out a bit better, Jackie?
Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. But within our own site, we don't actually need to put all of this bit in. I've done it again. Stop clicking. We just need to put this in. Yeah, we don't need the https mywebsite.co.uk. We just need
Would
the
that other part? Would the longer version help with the SEO? Or
no. We're talking internal links here, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
Oh dear, and now my stomach's rumbling. That's not very good, is it? So as I said, we could also put these into our menu structure. Yeah, so if you go to your appearances menus, and hopefully on the side, you'll have a little section here that says custom links. If you haven't, I'll show you in a minute when we go live how to actually put that up so that it appears for you. And then we can add in the custom link. So it says, what's your URL and what text you want to be in the navigation. Okay, so in this instance, as you look to the side, you can see I've put one in that says anchors away, and it says to the side of it, it's a custom link. So if you're looking at your navigation, you'll see each bit tells you what it actually links to in grey on the side.
Yeah.
And so what I've said is that's where I want it to go, to that particular point on that particular page. So just as we would have done with the actual words on the page, we've created an anchor on a page, and now we're sending people to that specific place on the page. We're just putting it into our navigation menu.
And so that place on the page is, on your example, it's called Anchor 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be anything. It could be like a heading and.
Yeah, so it could be that, let's stick with our shoes analogy. It could be that you were going to have Adidas was going to be an anchor, Nike was going to be an anchor, etc.
Right.
So, you know, so long as it makes sense to you, because you've got to actually use them.
Okay. Yeah.
So, so I always say to people, write them down. Yeah, because if you have to go back and change your navigation at some point, you need to remember what these are.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so that was all of the slides I did, and I said I'll as I normally do, I'll create these as a PDF and I'll put them up for you guys to go and grab. Yeah. So let's have a look at it. What we were talking about. Oh, sorry, I've got things on my screen. I can't see what I'm doing. So back in our text editor mode, on our text, you can see here I've put in that first anchor, and I can simply go in and add the others if I so want into each point that I want it to go. And if you go back,
sorry, Mark, can you only do anchors on headings?
No, you can do anchors wherever you want them to go.
All right.
Okay. If we get time, I'll come back to that. But if you think about it logically, you want the people to use this to navigate around the page. Yeah. So at the moment we're talking about creating a table of contents. So using your headings is a sensible way to create that. So it doesn't change the appearance on the front. Let's have a look. So lost my point. Hold on a second. Bear with me a second, guys. Right, sorry. Just make a quick note of where I was and what I was doing. So I created lots of test pages, as you can probably tell. Oh, we've lost James again. Oh, well, not to worry. Yes, sorry. Table of contents, that's where we were. So we've put our anchors in. And as I said, what we want to do is include our actual table of contents. So still working in our text rather than visual editor, we just need to put in our so this is back to where we had on the slide this code that we had on the slide to create our table of contents. So if we preview that, you can see it's put in a table of contents for us now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What it doesn't look like I've done is, oh, okay, let's update it. Unfortunately, I've also put in using a plugin, so that's added to the confusion here. So I've lost my place on the on where I was going. Yeah. Right, for some reason it's broken it. Let's get rid of that. Yeah. Sorry, we got James back. Right, so for most of us, we probably aren't going to use this. If we also know what our links are, so we're working from our list that we already have, we could actually just create our table of contents. So we could say, what is lorem? I'm only going to put that much in. And we can create our link from here because we know that our anchor is anchor 1. So we can do it that way as well. So there's lots of ways that we can create this. But I think that for you guys, your best bet is going to be, no, we've got somebody else turned up now, Richard. You're probably going to want to use a plugin. I think you'll find that's easier for yourselves. And then we'll look at the using it as a navigation tool to move from one page to the other. In fact, let's do that now. So, sorry, my browser had a bit of a hiccup when it's created numerous tabs all of a sudden that I didn't have open before, so I've got myself a bit confused. Okay, so this is actually created on Gutenberg, this page. Unfortunately, I had to switch off Gutenberg to demonstrate the rest of it to you. But as you can see here, just different page links. And the other beauty you find actually, and this is probably a really good point for you guys, using a plugin to create your tables of contents, is that it actually takes you to exactly the spot on the page without any juggling. Okay, if you create the anchor links yourselves, you will find quite often that you have to go and track where you need to put them, so that what you want to appear on the page appears exactly on the page. And what I mean by that is, for example, if we use these words here and we did it ourselves, we created our own table of content, when we jump to the link, we would probably end up something like that. Okay, so it would take the heading off the page. So from that point of view, to save you time and having to muck about, you're much better using a plugin. It will take you to, as I say, if you looked at what I did there, let's pick where does it come from. You can see that it appears right in the spot where we want it to be. Yeah, that's the words I've clicked on as a visitor, so that's the words I want to see. Yeah, because it tells me I'm in the right spot straight away. I've arrived at the right place. This is the bit I want to read. Oh, hold on. Oh, excuse me. So does that make one sense, and two, help you to decide which method you want to use?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah.
So if you're going to use a plugin, let's just, for the sake of it, we've been through this before. If you want to add a new plugin, you're going to go and look for table of contents. What did you say yours was built on? Did you say, Jackie? Do you remember?
I'll tell you, it's Thrive. It's Thrive Architect.
Oh, okay. So I've just done table of contents, search for table of contents. As you can see, there's several of them out there. This one came up first, so I installed that one. There are things like page builders like Elementor. There are plugins that actually work with that to give you tables of content. So again, you have to do a bit of research, see which one makes sense for you to use, and go with that. As I say, in this instance, I put in the easy table of contents. You need to quickly pop into the settings so that you can turn it on and make sure it's enabled for wherever you're going to plan to use it. This is going to tell you where it's going to put it. Yeah, so do you want it to go before the first heading, after, at the top of the page, at the bottom of the page? Yeah. How many headings are going to be present? Yeah, so if there's only one heading on the page, we don't want it. So in this instance, what I'm saying is there must be at least 2 headings on the page for me to be able to use the table of contents. Sort of makes sense. By default, I think it comes set at 4. Show the header text. So what's it going to be called? In this instance, table of contents. You can change that, make it what you want. And allow the user to turn it off if you wish, so they can hide it. Oh, excuse me. Once you've set it all up, including your colors and everything else, you just save your changes. Yeah. By default, you can probably leave it alone. It will say, the only thing you might want to change is that where it says it comes by default a set of 4 headings, or depending on how you write your pages, that may impact on whether or not you're going to use it as the default setting. Let's pick a text page. It's much easier. Go to your page, and the usual thing with your screen options, make sure the table of contents is then enabled so you can see it on your page. For me, it's here. It also appeared like that, closed up when I first opened it, just something to be aware of, so for the controls to be there. And then you say, do you want it on this page? Yes or no? Okay, so if we quickly preview this page, that's the table of contents. I've left it the settings saying they can hide it, so they can collapse it like that. And if I just switch it off, and hopefully it will refresh without me having to update the page. No, got to update the page. Okay, it's just switched off. It's as simple as that. But you can also change in there which headings are going to appear. So do you want the main heading to be in your table of contents? Probably not, because it's at the top of the page. It's your page heading. And you possibly want your table of contents underneath that. So in my case here, I've said, no, I don't want that. I've got H2 headings. If I've got sub paragraphs, I might want them in there as well. So let's just for looking at it, let's see what we can achieve. Let's add in a H3. We're going to end up with a whole lot of text in there now. There's a lot of creaking. Somebody moving upstairs or something? Okay, so you can see now it's taken all of that. I made an awful lot of text H3, but you can see how it's put it in underneath the first H2 So that's a subheading for that same paragraph. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can see that quite quickly, especially if you're writing fairly hefty informational pages, how this could benefit your readers to move up and down the page to find the section that they actually want. James, did you say you still use Gutenberg?
I'm not sure if I do actually. No, I don't think I do. I did check earlier on. I don't. I use the new one. I can't remember. It's called WP something. I can't remember.
WP Bakery.
Bakery, yes.
So you've got a page builder as well. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if I can quickly. I've just switched off or switched Gutenberg back on, depending which way you look at it. I'm hoping that this page that I left in Gutenberg will still work. Okay, so this is yeah, this worked quite nicely. It's gone back into Gutenberg, and you can see this is, so where we were just looking at the text editor without it, this is now the, I think it was 5.2 Gutenberg came in. So this is the new editor that WordPress provides for you. Okay, and it's built in little blocks. That's what Gutenberg's called. So that there is a block, and like so many of the page builders, I can drag it around on the page. Yeah, and I can just add new blocks in. Oops, I can't drag it around very well though. I'm not very good at dragging stuff. And I can also, you can see there's my H2, and I can change my headings, I can do bold, etc. And I've got a box there which enables me to go back. And here they call it edit as HTML, whereas in the old one they've called it visual and text, but it does the same thing. If I click on that, you can see that we're back with our code that we can see as well as our words. Yeah. Go back to edit visually, gets rid of the clutter, makes it a lot easier to see. And I've got that Gutenberg table of contents block turned on. So that's what this is. And with Gutenberg, we just add a new block, and then we can just go down and find the block that we want. Table of contents, for some reason, uncategorized, and so it's right at the bottom.
Yeah, I think I've got that with another website that somebody made changes on.
It works just the same. And I haven't tested this with the other one, but I have tested it on here. So let's add another block in. So we'll add in a paragraph. And if I take, put that in.
There's usually a plus sign underneath, isn't there?
Yeah, to add another block.
Yeah, that's somebody put that. Somebody made some changes on the Beckenham Business Association website, and that's what they've put in.
Well, yeah, I mean, this comes now with WordPress by default. So by default, this is how your pages will appear. You actually need to go and switch it off if you've got a new version of WordPress. So we use what was it? What was it? Let me just disable Gutenberg is the one we use. So if I just drag that down, and let's just call it Y. So if I update that page, because I've put in another heading, he said hopefully, it's automatically added it into our table of contents. Yeah. So it's really quite good in that respect. If you get it set up correctly, you can then expand on, especially FAQ pages and things like that. Yeah. So if you've got it at the top of an FAQ page and you've got people constantly saying to you, yeah, but what if I do this? So you write in what if I do this as the heading, which is your next frequently asked question, and then you answer it underneath. Yeah, so automatically it will start adding it into your table of contents, so that when people come to your FAQ page, they can go, oh yeah, that's what I want to know. Click on the table of contents at the top and go straight to the question that's most relevant to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so that's from my sort of point of view, that's something I can think of quite quickly where it would be of benefit using a table of contents. But like I said, if you have some pages that are quite long, so for example, if you did a description of a procedure that your business does, so we offer this service and it has 10 steps, people may be interested to know what all the 10 steps are, so give them a table of contents so they can go and decide what they want to read to make a decision.
I think the FAQs is a good example.
I think it's probably the best, to be honest, Jackie, off the top of my head. If you look at, I think Sean does it on the radio show. I think off the top of my head, I should keep my menu off there. Yeah, so she has a table of contents at the top so that you can quickly find what people want on this page. Yeah, so you can go how to listen, and then you can see, you can go and join in. Yeah, so just from that point of view, it's to make it easy for your visitors to navigate whilst they're on that page, especially if you have quite a bit of content on the page.
Yeah.
Or there's one method of doing it. There are others, as what's it they say on the BBC? There's something like that.
Brexit, I'm not.
No, there's if they mention a product, they have to say there are other brands available or something, don't they? So yeah, like I said, custom links in your menu. Again, screen options at the top. You may need to tick the box to turn it on. Yeah, so you can then add in the custom links. If you want to put in custom links to other websites, especially your own, it's a good idea to turn this bit on as well, the link target, because we do recommend that when you, so I'm going to go into custom link now. You've now got this little option. It says open link in a new tab. Okay, so if you external links, it's always a good idea to open them in a new tab, simply because I'm your visitor, I'm on this page, I click the link that takes me here, and no, I don't really want to read that, so I press close.
Yeah, that was what I was meaning when I said, did it open it up in a separate window?
Yeah. No, not normally. As I said, to navigate around your own site, not normally, no.
No, but what I meant was what you've just described. So I used the wrong phraseology. Sorry.
Yeah, if you're going to link externally, it's best for it to open in another tab. Yeah. Oh. It's like musical chairs here. Richard's left and now he's back.
Yeah, I'm afraid I've because I was out. I've literally just got in.
Right, I'm just
gonna swap the computer to my laptop.
Right, I've just muted one of you. Wrong one. Let's try the other one. Are you back with us, Richard? No, and now he's lost the video as well. Oh, never mind. Yeah, so back to that one I was showing you, wasn't I? So I've said that this custom link is going to take us to our page here, but to an anchor on that page. Yeah, and you notice we put the hashtag in to define the anchor. So I'm on the home page, and if I click the link, it takes me to that particular point on the other page. Yeah, so there is text up above. I've missed that out. I've gone straight to the point. Are we okay with sound?
Getting an echo.
Yeah, we seem to have a bit of a bad connection at the moment. Hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, that's basically it, especially now we seem to be having problems. Does that actually give everybody a way that they could use tables of contents for their website?
Yes, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yeah.
what we were defining there as jump links. Yeah, so sending people to a particular point on a page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, folks. Has anybody got anything they'd like us to cover next time? See, that's put you on the spot, hasn't it?
Well, something I was struggling with today, but I doubt that you will want to do it. With my events, I use Constant Contact, and I've got a widget that pulls in those constant contacts over on the right-hand side of the page, or one of the pages. And I was trying to see how I could add some formatting to it, because I don't want to get rid of my face-to-face meeting entries, but I've also got entries which are the virtual meetings, the online meetings, and I wanted to try and make the word virtual in bold in the widget listing. So I managed to make the whole thing bold, but not the individual word. So I don't know whether that's something you'd want to be bothered with.
Right, I'm going to assume that pulls in either some script or an iframe from Eventbrite.
No, from Constant Contact I use.
Sorry, Constant Contact.
There's some code in there. Yeah, in the widget there's some code.
So if it's a sign-up thing, don't you create the thing in Constant Contact and then get the code?
No, it's not a sign-up thing. I list all my events in Constant Contact, and Constant Contact at the moment has a widget where you can pull in the headings of the events into the listing in the column on the right hand side, and then people can click those if they want to go to that particular event, and that will take them through to Constant Contact, the listing in Constant Contact.
Oh, okay.
I suppose you could substitute for Eventbrite if mentally in that way.
Okay. Do you want to send me some? In fact, we'll have a chat later, Jackie, shall we?
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe tomorrow or something, and you can sort of give me an idea, a bit more of an idea, so I can get into Constant Contact dashboard as well and have a look. We might be able to get a better understanding of what it is that you're trying to achieve. But is there anything particularly in WordPress itself that people wanted to look at?
I saw on your page you had like a little quote, like an indented different font with a little line on the end. How did you do that?
Okay. So what, on this page that we were looking at here? Wherever it's gone. So things like this?
Yes, yeah, just there. I haven't looked at my page for ages, so I could probably just go, oh yeah, it's worked out.
Yeah, you probably will.
I think it was that little line next to it that was like, oh, that looks interesting. It makes it, just add sort of edge to it.
So this is actually in Gutenberg, this one. So let's just see if we add a block.
Oh, right,
okay, so you got a quote block in Gutenberg.
Okay.
Let me come out of that and disable Gutenberg. Where's my pages gone? Right, hopefully now it's disabled. So in your normal text editor, Whichever, let's put in a return there. So this is our bit of text that we want to quote, and then there's a block quote up here as well. So if I preview that, there's my quote. It's done it for me.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Easy fun.
Well, I was thinking more of a particular subject or something that you'd like us to cover. God,
The only thing I kind of struggle with, I don't really understand 100%, is how to create a widget.
how to use widgets? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.